But those of a society that insists on measuring someone's worth by the money in their bank account. In the real world, and in the school environment, it is no different. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever faced situations where, no matter how hard you tried, it seemed like all the doors were closed simply because you didn't come from a prestigious place? This is exactly the story of Ryan, a poor boy who entered an elite school, only to discover that the real challenges were not in the books, but in the minds of those around him. Ryan, despite all adversity, carries with him a powerful truth. True genius is not measured by where you were born, but by what you are capable of achieving. However, this is not one of those common overcoming stories. Here, Ryan's genius lies not just in his intelligence, but in his ability to overcome the emotional and social obstacles that surround him. And that's what makes this story so compelling and, at the same time, so close to any of us who have ever had to fight to prove ourselves. Do you believe that, with hard work, it is possible to transform your reality? Or have you, like many, found yourself thinking that certain achievements are beyond your reach, simply because the world insists on labeling people? Ryan's story challenges this belief, showing that true power lies in not giving up, in keeping fighting, even when everything seems to be against you. Get ready for a journey that will not only inspire you, but also challenge you to reevaluate your own beliefs about what it takes to succeed in life. This narrative will stir your emotions, making you question what it really means to be successful. It's not just about money or status, but the courage to face your fears and move forward, even when the path seems impossible. Ryan isn't just a character. He is a symbol of all those who refuse to accept that where they started defines where they will end up. And in the end, the question that remains is, are you willing to do whatever it takes to achieve your dreams, just like Ryan did? Ryan, a boy who just transferred to an elite school, soon realized that adapting would be more difficult than he imagined. He was not only the newcomer, but also someone from humble beginnings among young people from rich and influential families. And as if that weren't enough, his colleagues wasted no time in mocking his financial condition, making him feel out of place and inferior. The students' cruelty went beyond words. They constantly reminded Ryan that he didn't belong there, making his school experience almost unbearable. It is at this moment that Ryan realizes that, to survive, he would need to find a way to stand out, something that would be impossible to ignore, even by the most cruel. Arriving at a new school, especially a prestigious one, is a challenge in itself. But when you have the burden of not having the same financial resources as your colleagues, the situation becomes even more complicated. Ryan not only felt the difference, but was constantly reminded of it by other students. Cutting phrases and disdainful looks were part of his daily life. Each classroom, each corridor walked, was a new battle against the prejudices that insisted on defining who he was. The pressure came not only from colleagues, but also from the academic environment itself, where excellence was expected and any failure seemed a step towards failure. However, adversity can be a powerful driving force. Ryan, even in the face of so much contempt, began to wonder how he could turn that situation to his advantage. Not that it was easy to ignore the nasty comments or the snickers as he passed by, but he knew he needed to find something within himself that was bigger than the opinions of others. Perhaps, he thought, the way to gain respect was to prove, once and for all, that intelligence is not necessarily linked to the bank account. What many there didn't know was that Ryan had faced difficulties before, and this wouldn't be the first time he had to exceed expectations. In fact, he was used to being underestimated, and this gave him a kind of invisible strength, something his colleagues couldn't see. It was as if every offensive comment, every tasteless joke, was fueling an internal flame that only grew. He knew that sooner or later, he would have the opportunity to show who he really was, and that motivated him to move forward, even if the path was full of rocks. And so, Ryan began to hatch a silent plan. He knew he couldn't change the way others saw him overnight, but he also knew that intelligence, when used well, can be a powerful weapon. He was determined to find a way to shine in that environment, so that even his biggest critics couldn't ignore him. And it was with this thought that he began to prepare, perhaps without realizing it, for the next challenge that awaited him. When it came time to face the dreaded math challenge, Ryan found himself faced with a situation that could define his future at school. A complex, seemingly impossible to solve problem was presented to the entire class. But for Ryan, this challenge was more than just an academic exercise. It was an opportunity. However, his first attempt to solve the equation was met with laughter and mockery. Public humiliation was difficult to bear, especially for someone who was already burdened with so many insecurities. However, instead of letting himself get discouraged, Ryan saw that moment as a chance to prove to himself that he could overcome any obstacle, even those that seemed insurmountable. Mathematics, for many, is a daunting subject, full of numbers and symbols that seem to dance in front of your eyes. For Ryan, however, math has always been a way to escape the harsh realities he faced outside of the classroom. He knew that if he could master this problem, not only would he gain the respect of his peers, but he would also prove that talent and skill are not tied to social status. This challenge wasn't just a matter of solving an equation. It was a personal battle against everyone who doubted his ability. Ryan spent the entire night studying, reviewing formulas, and trying different approaches to the problem. He knew failure was not an option, but the pressure was enormous. He could feel his classmates' eyes on him, waiting for him to fail once again. But something inside him pushed him to continue, not to give up. With each mistake, he learned something new, adjusted his approach, and tried again. This perseverance, this ability to get up after every fall, was what set him apart from others. And Ryan knew it. When he finally managed to solve the equation, Ryan couldn't believe it. He had done the impossible, or at least what everyone thought was impossible. But instead of rushing to show off his achievement, he decided to keep it a secret. He wanted to wait for the right moment, the perfect occasion to reveal what he had achieved. And so, with a mixture of nervousness and renewed confidence, he put the paper with the solution at the bottom of his backpack, knowing that soon he would have his chance to show everyone what he was capable of. This silent victory was a milestone in Ryan's journey. Although no one yet knew what he had done, he felt that something had changed within him. The solved equation was not only an academic victory, but also a symbol of his resilience and determination. He was ready for the next challenge, whatever it was, and he knew that when the time came, he would be prepared to surprise everyone. As the days passed, Ryan continued to work hard in secret. He knew that the only way to truly make a difference was through tireless dedication. Every free minute he had, he dedicated to studying, reviewing concepts, and improving his skills. Perseverance became his mantra, the driving force that kept him moving forward even when everything around him seemed to fall apart. He was determined to prove that, regardless of circumstances, hard work always trumps natural talent when not accompanied by effort. There were moments when discouragement almost overcame him. The weight of expectations, both his own and those he imagined others had for him, was enormous. But every time doubt arose, Ryan remembered why he was there. Not just to excel at an elite school, but to transform his life and perhaps the life of his mother who sacrificed so much for him. Had that opportunity, this thought was what kept him focused, what gave him the strength to continue, even when it seemed like he no longer had the energy to do so. Ryan's life was not easy, but he knew that the difficulties he faced now were temporary, while the fruits of his efforts could last forever. He was inspired by stories of people who, like him, came from difficult circumstances and managed to succeed through perseverance and hard work. He remembered, for example, Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the electric light bulb. Like Edison, Ryan believed that every mistake was just one more step toward success, and this mentality helped him not to give up. Even with all his effort, Ryan knew he would need more than just determination to achieve his goals. He started looking for ways to learn faster, to optimize his study time, and to absorb as much knowledge as possible. He read about accelerated learning techniques, such as using mind maps and spaced review, and applied these strategies in his routine. And so, day by day, he saw his confidence growing, along with his ability to face greater and greater challenges. The effort Ryan put into his studies was immense, but he knew that to be successful, he needed to be willing to go beyond the ordinary. He was willing to sacrifice sleepless nights, free time, and even some friendships, if necessary, to achieve his goals. And it was this absolute dedication that led him to be prepared for the next big challenge that was approaching, a mathematical competition that could change his life forever. The day of the final competition arrived, an event that would make it clear who really was the best in the classroom. Ryan, despite all the pressure, knew this was his chance to finally show everyone what he was capable of. The atmosphere was charged with tension, with the eyes of his classmates and teachers fixed on every movement he made. He knew he was not only competing for a spot on the school's math team, but also for the respect he craved. The opponent, Ken, represented everything Ryan had fought against: arrogance, privilege, and the belief that money defines a person's worth. The competition was not easy. The questions were challenging, requiring not only theoretical knowledge, but also the ability to think under pressure. Ryan felt sweat running down his forehead, but his mind was sharp. Each equation solved was a step closer to victory, but also a reminder of everything that was at stake. The room seemed to shrink as he concentrated, blocking out all outside noise. His years of solitary practice and sleepless nights were finally paying off. With each correct answer, he could feel the tide beginning to shift in his favor. Ken, on the other hand, was visibly uncomfortable. Used to winning easily, he didn't expect to find a worthy opponent. His initial confidence began to crumble as Ryan kept pace, solving complex problems with precision and speed. Ken's frustration was palpable, but Ryan stayed focused, reminding himself that this was his opportunity to prove that all his hard work hadn't been in vain. He knew he couldn't afford to make mistakes, not with so much at stake. As the competition came to an end, All eyes were on Ryan and Ken, awaiting the final verdict. The silence in the room was almost deafening, and Ryan could feel his heart beating fast. And then the announcement came. Ryan was the winner. The weight of that moment was almost unbelievable to him. For the first time, he had not only won, but achieved something that no one could take from him. He had proven that true strength comes from hard work and perseverance, not from where you came from or how much money you have. Ryan's victory was not only a personal triumph, but also a symbol of something greater. He showed everyone that intelligence and ability are not exclusive to the privileged, and that anyone, with determination and effort, can achieve success. However, he knew that this victory was just the beginning. There was still a lot to be done, many challenges to be faced. But in that moment, he allowed himself to taste victory, knowing that he had achieved something that no one could take away from him. In the midst of the difficulties Ryan was facing, the unexpected figure of a mentor appeared in his life, bringing with him not only advice, but a deep understanding of the struggles he faced. That mentor was the school guard, a man who, at first glance, seemed like just another school employee. However, behind his uniform and stern expressions, there was someone who, like Ryan, had also faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles in the past. He recognized in Ryan the same determination that once drove him, and decided to offer the help he knew could make all the difference. This mentor's support came at critical moments, when Ryan most needed a shoulder to lean on and someone who believed in his potential. It wasn't just about teaching math. It was about providing a safe space where Ryan could study away from the teasing of other students, and a place where he could find the strength to keep fighting. The relationship between the two grew stronger over time, based on mutual respect and the understanding that often what we need most is someone who believes in us, even when we ourselves doubt it. The guard shared with Ryan his own experiences, revealing that he too had been underestimated in his youth, and that the path to success is rarely easy or straightforward. He taught Ryan that the difficulties we face do not define us, but rather how we respond to them. With wise words and practical advice, he guided Ryan not only in his studies, but also in life. He showed that, regardless of what others think, it is hard work and persistence that really matter. This mentor's presence in Ryan's life was like a beacon of hope in the midst of a storm. He not only provided emotional and practical support, but also helped Ryan see his own worth. It was with the help of this mentor that Ryan was able to stay strong during the final competition and in his studies. The mentor asked for nothing in return, just that Ryan keep fighting and never give up on his dreams. This relationship proved to be a turning point in Ryan's life, showing that sometimes the greatest allies can be found in the most unexpected places. In the end, this mentor's impact on Ryan's life was invaluable. He not only helped Ryan achieve his academic goals, but also planted the seed of resilience and self-confidence in him. This mentor's presence was a powerful reminder that no matter how difficult the circumstances, there is always a way to move forward when we have the right support. Ryan came away from this experience not only a winner in the competition, but also with a new understanding of the importance of having someone by your side to guide and support. With the competition over and victory achieved, Ryan could finally feel the relief of knowing that all his efforts had paid off. But more than the victory itself, what really marked this moment was the emotional reconnection he managed to establish both with himself and with the important people in his life. The first significant gesture was towards his mother, the person who always believed in him, even when everyone around him doubted. Upon returning home, Ryan felt a rush of emotions as he realized that all the sacrifice they had made, all the hardships they had faced together, were finally starting to pay off. This meeting with his mother was not only a moment of celebration, but also of deep reflection. Ryan, when he looked into her eyes, saw the pride and satisfaction of a mother who always knew her son's potential. She had always told him that with hard work and determination, he could achieve anything, and now, here was living proof of that. This moment also helped Ryan understand that his success was not just his own, but that of everyone who supported him along the way. It was a shared victory, and that made everything even more meaningful. However, this emotional resolution was not limited to his relationship with his mother. Ryan also began to gain the respect of colleagues who previously looked down on him. Victory in the competition made many see in Ryan not just the poor boy who had entered the school out of charity, but someone worthy of respect and admiration. This change in the perception of others did not erase the pain of the past, but it helped Ryan see that he had the power to transform his reality and the way people saw him. As Ryan celebrated his achievements, he also realized that this journey brought him more than he expected. It wasn't just about winning a competition or getting good grades. It was about personal growth, resilience, and discovering your own inner strength. He began to understand that, although the path was full of obstacles, each challenge overcome made him stronger and more prepared for what was yet to come. Ryan was no longer the same boy who entered that school, insecure and full of doubts. He had become someone capable of facing the world with confidence. Ryan's emotional resolve also involved accepting that he still had many challenges ahead, but now he was prepared to face them. He knew that life wouldn't always be easy, but now he was certain that with the right support and unwavering determination, he could overcome any adversity. And so, as he prepared for the next chapter of his life, Ryan carried with him the lessons he learned, the people who helped him along the way, and the confidence that he was just beginning to discover his full potential.